Hello guys, I'm Kashif Ali Sahgal and I'm back with another video in this conditions of pandemic COVID. Just to finish the syllabus for AS level, we were studying organic chemistry and it is in the sequel of organic chemistry for AS level. Today's topic is hydroxy compounds. It is a part of AS level organic chemistry. We also call hydroxy compounds as alcohols. So in this chapter, we study about alcohols. You know the functional group of alcohols is OH group, hydroxyl group. In this chapter, we will study about introduction to alcohols, the types of alcohols, their physical properties, and then we will also study their chemical properties and some uses of alcohols as well, depending on their nature. We will start with the introduction to alcohols. Alcohols, what are alcohols? We know that they are the derivatives of hydrocarbons in which a hydrogen atom is replaced by a hydroxyl group. Hydroxyl group has a formula of OH. And it reminded that it's not hydroxide ion, it is just hydroxyl group, it has no charge. Hydroxide ion is found in alkalis and alcohols are not alkaline, they are neutral. So alcohols have a functional group of OH and it has a general formula of CnH2n plus 1 OH, but this is for one of the types of alcohols called primary alcohol. It is just like halogen alkanes. They are primary, secondary and tertiary. So same is the case with alcohols. Alcohols are also primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary are 1 degree, secondary are 2 degree, tertiary are 3 degree. And the same way we can define them as we define the primary, secondary and tertiary halogen alkanes. So primary alcohols are the alcohols which have OH at one end of the chain. We can call it as a terminal functional group. So they are always one-oles. So it can be propane one-ole, ethanol, propane one-ole, butane one-ole, pentane one-ole. So the carbon atom which is bonded with OH is attached to 2H and one carbon chain. The carbon chain can have branches inside it, but the carbon atom which is bonded with OH is bonded to 2H and one carbon chain, so it is primary. So that is one ole. Then secondary are the types of alcohols in which OH comes in the middle of the chain. So it is no longer at the end of the chain. So it can be propane 2-ol, butane 2-ol, pentane 2-ol, pentane 3-ol. So the OH will no longer be in the on the end, but rather it is in the middle of the chain. Uh, the alcohols can be these alcohols can be identified as the carbon atom which is bonded with OH is bonded with one H and two carbon chains. These carbon chains can have a branch in them, but the carbon which is the alpha carbon, you also call it as alpha carbon, that is bonded with OH is bonded with one H directly and two carbon chains. Whereas tertiary alcohols are the alcohols in which the carbon atom bonded to OH is bonded with three R groups and no hydrogen atom. So it can be like if you have a propane and the OH is on the second carbon and that second carbon also have an alkyl group. So it can be simple example is 2-methyl propane 2-ol as it is given in the structure. So 2-methyl propane 2-ol. So it is the simplest of a tertiary alcohol. Some examples are written here. Ethanol is primary, propane 2-ol is secondary, and then 2-methyl propane 1-ol is also primary. 2-methyl propane 1-ol, the last structure that is written, is also primary because CH2OH is there. Physical properties of alcohols. Alcohols are soluble in water because of the hydrogen bonds. It has OH group and water also has OH, so they gel together well, forming hydrogen bonding. But the solubility of alcohols decreases as the carbon chain increases. So methanol and ethanol are fully soluble, but propane 1-ol or propane 2-ol and onwards their solubility decreases, and butane 1-ol or butane 2-ol is insoluble in water because of the hydrophobic carbon chain. Carbon chain is hydrophobic, it does not allow the OH group to form strong hydrogen bonding and it disrupts the hydrogen bonding in water. The melting point and boiling point, as you know that as the carbon chain increases, the van der Waals forces become stronger and that's why the boiling point increases. And the same case if you are comparing the isomers, the straight chain isomers have a higher boiling point, and as the chain becomes compact, the boiling point decreases because of the decrease in contact point. So same rules are applied here as you have studied in halogen alkanes as well. Heat the alcohol by passing it over heated aluminum oxide, or you just add concentrated sulfuric acid, water will be eliminated. You can see steamy fumes coming out of the alcohol, and the remaining product will be alkene. So the diagram shows you that alkene alcohol is passed over hot pumice aluminum oxide, and you get the bubbles of ethene coming into the inverted test tube. Uh, the rule of elimination of steam, the elimination of water or dehydration is that the OH is removed from one carbon and the H is removed from the adjacent carbon. So that's why we have to be very careful in forming an alkene. So ethanol can only form ethene, propane 1-ol can form propene, propane 2-ol can also form propene, only one product, but butane 2-ol can form but1ene or but2ene. Two kinds of products can be formed. So that's why we have to be careful. The diagram shows you that butane 2-ol can form but1ene and but2ene. Two isomers can form by the elimination of water. So the rule is simple. OH is removed from one carbon and H is removed from the adjacent carbon. So you have to see how many carbon atoms are adjacent to the carbon with OH, and how many kind of alkenes can be formed. Second, next reaction, third reaction is reaction with sodium. It's just like a reaction of sodium with water with small observational changes. When you add sodium to water, it floats and darts around, and then hydrogen gases catches fire with and can burn with a blue flame, and sodium can catch fire with a yellow flame. But in this case, when you add sodium into ethanol, it sinks, and you start seeing bubbles coming out of the sodium metal. That is the production of hydrogen gas, and then you get alkoxide. The remaining product in the solution is alkoxide. It is soluble in water and it is alkaline in nature. So sodium just displaces H atom from the OH and forming an ionic O negative Na positive product called an alkoxide. So if you have ethanol, sodium reacts with ethanol to form sodium ethoxide. Okay, alcohol to alkoxide is general name, ethanol to ethanoxide, and if you have propanol, then you get propoxide, butanol gives you butoxide, and hydrogen gas is always there. So this reaction can be used as an identification of hydroxyl group. But this can be confusing because sodium metal, being a metal, can also react with carboxylic acid and same hydrogen gas can be formed. So yes, sodium can be used to identify hydroxyl groups, sorry, not hydroxide, and to identify an alcohol, but this reaction can be confusing with carboxylic acids as well because same observation of bubbles forming can be seen. Substitution reaction to give halogenoalkanes. In halogenoalkanes, we have studied that they undergo a substitution reaction with aqueous NaOH to form alcohols. Now we are going backwards and converting alcohols back to halogenoalkanes. So there are multiple reactants that can be used to convert alcohols to halogenoalkanes. One of them is a freshly prepared hydrogen halide such as HCl or HBr. For doing that, to freshly prepare hydrogen halide, we need to add sodium halide and sulfuric acid in the flask containing the alcohol. So when you add sodium halide and sulfuric acid in the flask, dilute sulfuric acid, not concentrated, otherwise difficult will take place. So the sulfuric acid, when react with sodium halide, it will form HX and sodium hydrogen sulfate. So it can be HX depends on NaX, NaCl will give us HCl fumes, NaBr will give us HBr fumes, and the immediate reaction takes place. And then this HBr or HCl reacts with sulfuric acid and displaces the OH group. The whole OH group is displaced with a halide ion to form halogenoalkane. So again, it's a nucleophilic substitution reaction. Halide ion is the incoming nucleophile and the hydroxide ion is the outgoing nucleophile. It's opposite to what you have studied in halogen alkanes. So the reaction you can see that HX reacts with CH3CH2OH to form CH3CH2X plus H2O. So the X has displaced the OH and the OH reacts with H positive ions to form water. Another reagent that can be used to convert alcohols to halogenoalkanes is the use of PCl3, PCl5, or then we have PBBr3 or PI3. So phosphorus trichloride or phosphorus 5-chloride and phosphorus tribromide or phosphorus triiodide can be used to convert the alcohol to halogen alkane. So for example, if you have PCl3 and you add it to ethanol, you will get CH3CH2Cl. The one of the chlorine atom has displaced the OH. The OH that comes out will react with phosphorus and remaining chlorine atoms to form, if you have PCl3, it will form H3PO3. H3PO3. But if you have PCl5, then it will react with the alcohol in the same way to form halogenoalkane, chloroalkane, but the products, the remaining products are different. You will get POCl3 and HCl. HCl will give you white fumes. So this reaction PCl5 to react with alcohol and formation of white fumes of HCl can be used to identify a hydroxide ion. This is quite a good test because it does not confuse with any other functional groups. Only alcohols reacts with PCl5 to form HCl white fumes and can be confirmed. So, in place of, if you want to displace hydroxide by bromine or iodine, then you need to have only PBBr3 or PI3. That can be possible. So if you use PBBr3, then you get Br in place of OH. If you use PI3, you get iodine in place of OH, and you get the halide ion displacing the OH and forming the product. Next reagent to form halogenoalkane is thionyl chloride. We also call as sulfur oxydichloride. It also reacts with ethanol to form ethanol or any kind of alcohol to form corresponding halogenoalkane, sulfur dioxide and HCl. Again, white fumes are formed. Sulfur dioxide is a pungent gas. This time the product formed, the halogenalkane formed, is very pure because all the other products are gases and they will be released out, they will be evolved, and so the leftover liquid will be the halogenoalkane. So this is a good way of obtaining pure halogenoalkane. Thionyl chloride or sulfur oxydichloride is also used to form halogenalkane. So all these reactions, HX reaction of alcohol with HX, reaction of alcohol with PCl5 or PCl3 or SOCl2, all of them are nucleophilic substitution reactions and are other way around to halogenalkane. Next is the oxidation of alcohols. The reagent, recommended reagent is for oxidation is acidified potassium dichromate, but of course you can use acidified potassium manganate 7 as well. But if they ask that in the paper, you will always recommend for dichromate and not for KNO4. And condition is heat and reflux. Primary alcohols are oxidized from aldehyde to carboxylic acid because you are using reflux. In our next chapter, we will study that if you use slightly different condition for carrying out the oxidation of primary alcohol, you can obtain aldehyde, and that condition is heat and distillation. But if you carry out heat and reflux, primary alcohol will be first oxidized to aldehyde, but aldehyde remains in the flask and will further oxidize to form carboxylic acid. Secondary alcohols are oxidized to ketones, and tertiary alcohols do not oxidize. Why do not oxidize? You go back to the structure of tertiary alcohol. We have studied that carbon atom which is bonded to OH has no hydrogen. But in case of primary and secondary alcohols, carbon atom bonded with OH has 2H or even 1H for secondary alcohol, so they can be further oxidized. But tertiary carbon, tertiary halogenalkanes and tertiary alcohols do not have any hydrogen atom with the carbon on the functional group, so they cannot be oxidized because oxidation is the removal of hydrogen and addition of oxygen. So primary alcohols, they are converted to aldehyde first, which is, you see the reaction, H and another H from OH is removed with the oxygen. For oxidizing agent, we use the symbol of oxygen O atom, nascent oxygen atom, to show that it is oxidation is taking place. So water is removed and you get an intermediate CH3 C double bond OH aldehyde, which will be further oxidized by gaining one more oxygen to form carboxylic acid, and the color of the potassium dichromate will change from orange to green. Secondary alcohols also should react in the same way, but in this case, secondary alcohol, the OH in the middle of the chain, you see CH3, CHOH, CH3. So CHOH in the middle of the chain is oxidized to form C double bond O, and H with C and H with O is removed to form water, as shown in the diagram. And tertiary alcohols cannot be oxidized, as told there is no hydrogen atom on the atom which is OH. So this is a small summary. Next reaction is esterification. Esterification, carboxylic acids react with alcohols. So this is a property of both carboxylic acids and alcohols to form esters. The reagent used to carry out this reaction is heat and reflux with concentrated sulfuric acid, which will remove water. So this reaction is also called water is removal is called condensation. So condensation will take place and alcohol will combine with carboxylic acid to form esters. Esters have sweet smell. They are used in perfumes, they are used in deodorants, they are used in soaps and detergents, and they are also used as a solvents. So the rule of thumb is that carboxylic acid removes OH and alcohols remove H to form water, and C double bond O will join with O of the alcohol to form the ester. So alcohol and carboxylic acids combine to form esters. Esters can be further, they can be hydrolyzed to go back to carboxylic acid and alcohol, so the reaction can be in opposite way. In the diagram you can see that CH3OH when react with CH3, CH2, CH2, COH, so the OH from the carboxylic acid and H from the alcohol is removed, and O of the alcohol combined with C double bond O of the carboxylic acid to you get the, so you get CH3, CH2, CH2, C double bond O from carboxylic acid, and then O from alcohol to form O and CH3 and water, and the reagent is there.